astronauts, and I won't listen to their words, 'cause I like birds.
This is Between Two Birds. I'm your host, Ben Young, with co-host John Ferruta.
Today's top stories concern the events unfolding in Ferguson, Missouri.
Last night, again, in suburban St. Louis, police in Ferguson, Missouri, once again had to put down and head off violence in the streets following the shooting days ago of a young, unarmed black man who was supposed to head off to college this week.
The most frightening thing about this is not the fact that an unarmed man was shot, but how ignorant the mayor of Ferguson is.
There's not a racial divide in the city of Ferguson.
According to whom? Is that your perspective, or do you believe that that is the perspective of African Americans in your community?
That is the perspective of all residents in our city. Seeing this kind of frustration or tension between the races, I've always been proud to say that to people. I know we've always gotten along, and I know our community still gets along very well.
No racial divide. No place on earth in history has had no racial divide. It's a part of human nature. You're telling me Ferguson, Missouri, a state in the South, has no history of racial divide?
In 1896, the Supreme Court ruled in the court case of Plessy v. the city of Ferguson that they would legalize this racial segregation.
You told me that the mayor of Ferguson doesn't know about this? Okay, fine. Well, excuse the mayor, okay? Maybe he didn't pay attention in his U.S. history class. But to see racial division, all he has to do is look outside.
Time's fast.
They see these dreads and they, I'm young, I'm black, they see these dreads and, that's an automatic flag, depending on the cop you're dealing with.
Our friend here is correct. If you're African American descent, you are 600% more likely to be stopped.
These corrupt, racist police are now patrolling Ferguson trying to preserve the peace. Okay, here's an example of one of these police officers.
My hands are up, bro. My hands are up.
Hands up. Raise and pointed. Raise and pointed at civilians. Hands up. I will fucking kill you. Get back. Hands up. Get back. Get back.
What's your name, sir?
The main slogan for these protesters is hands up, don't shoot. And the main goal of the police is to protect the residents of Ferguson.
So why is Officer Go yourself threatening to kill peaceful protesters? More importantly, why is someone like this allowed to carry an M16 assault rifle?
An M16 assault rifle has a firing rate of 60 rounds per minute. That means if Officer Go yourself decides that he wants to carry out his promise to kill you, all he has to do is hold down the trigger for 5 seconds and 5 people are shot.
Why are we even giving cops military-grade weapons in the first place? Well, it's obvious that the police hasn't changed since the civil rights period, but what has changed are the weapons they possess. Instead of being armed with hoses and water pistols, they have M16 and mine-resistant vehicles. You could say that escalated quickly. You might ask, why has this militarization occurred in the first place? Well, most of it was in response to the war on drugs and 9/11, to battle terrorists and drug lords. But obviously, the unarmed citizens of Ferguson are not terrorists or well-armed drug lords. Bradley Boko, a Washington Post journalist, calls these examples the rise of the war cop. That is, the increasing tendency of some local police forces to rely on military-style gears and tactics, even in situations that appear devoid of any real threat to officer safety. I guess the police just got bored and decided to play dress-up, and that's all this really is.
Boys with toys. Very dangerous toys. An estimated 600 police departments have received mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles, which are tanks built to withstand armor-piercing roadside bombs.
Last time I checked, the road wasn't a minefield. And the police might not realize this, but they aren't ground troops fighting in Afghanistan.
Not only has the Pentagon's 1033 program given officers these vehicles, but also 14,000 bayonets, which have been distributed across the country. Because, when you have big guns, you might as well stick giant knives on the barrels for some shock factor. Well, at least the police haven't lost any of their toys, right? They've been responsible.
Wrong. 145 police departments have been suspended from the 1033 program due to losing M14s, M16s, 0.5 caliber pistols, and even shotguns. There's even incidents of them losing a Humvee in Palestine, Arkansas.
How do you lose a 5,000-pound, mine-resistant military vehicle?
But I guess you could say it's expected for boys to lose their toys, but the real question is, do they still deserve these toys?
Well, that depends on whether or not they're using the weapons properly. And at 270 recorded botched SWAT raids, which often result in civilian deaths, makes us question if our boys are responsible enough to keep their toys.
To understand the circumstances of these failed raids, we have decided to reenact one. Okay, we have reports of a cocaine dealer's house right here. This is my first training mission. I have no idea what I'm doing. Hands up!
Did you see the look in that boy's face? Screw the boy, the dog!
The unfortunate truth about that reenactment is the accuracy of it. After reading several case files, we had determined that that was the most accurate representation we could have created.
We, however, believe that not all police are like this. Cops are meant to protect us from the threats in our community. Not all cops disregard the rights of the press. To prove this, and their nobility, we send you live footage from Ferguson.
Okay,
We're here live in Ferguson to report peaceful protests and police activity. Is that a grenade? Oh! We're the press! We're the press!
Stop filming! Stop filming!
Well, I like birds.